Good morning, friends. It's Friday. We made it, once again, to the end of the week. Well, a bit more hours to go, I suppose, but nonetheless. I feel like once you start Friday morning, it just kind of rolls. Hopefully your Friday just rolls today. You can sit here with me and say, let it roll. I had an interesting experience yesterday. I'm still sort of trying to put it into language. So when since I've been meditating a lot and being mindful and practicing becoming aware of God's presence, becoming aware of my emotional state, there's something kind of like a higher consciousness state that I find myself shifting into. Now that I know sounds a little weird and like a terminology that maybe we hear is really new age or whatever, but I'm just focusing on the Lord, so that's fine. To the pure, all things are pure. And anyway, what I experienced yesterday was, as I mentally, after my devotion, you might have seen with my son, I went and worked out, and then anyway, I mentally pushed into that higher state, that kind of meditative, aware of God's presence, present to my body state. And I realized it was not really through prayer process or through sitting here, but I was actually just able, through a force of my own mental willpower, to push into that space and then choose to stay there. And I kind of stayed there for like 2 hours. I went and did some errands, went to the dentist with Ruben, I went to Home Depot and did a bunch of different stuff. And the entire time I was carrying this peace and this almost, like, there was a sense where it was almost like an out-of-body experience, because I was almost like looking in on myself being so peaceful. But I wasn't out of body, I was actually very present and felt much more connected with myself, with God all at once, and able to kind of inhabit my space and inhabit more of my space, and also understand that I am more than my physical body. And yeah, I was much more aware of the spiritual, aware of God, and it was in a state that I could maintain by act of will. So that's interesting. That's kind of the first time that I've been able to kind of stretch that experience out longer, and that awareness of God and of myself and of peace. So we'll see if I can do that again today or whatever. But so many interesting byproducts of learning to love myself, of learning to cherish myself. My awareness of God's presence is so much stronger. I had an experience actually as well on Sunday morning. I went end of church, and we were doing some ministry time, praying for folks, and a friend of mine has chronic pain because of some car accidents and stuff he's been through. And so a number of people were around him praying for him, and I went over to him. And very often in this season, in the last 6 months, I don't get often at the beginning very clear words to pray for anybody. So I just turn up in silence, and I will just stand with someone and just hold space with somebody and say nothing. But I often also will cry with people, and it's almost like a way of tapping into whatever God is doing. And so I come up in front of him, and I reach out, and I put my hands like just above his chest, like this much. And the instant I did that, I overflowed with emotion and just began to weep. And he just reached out and grabbed me, and I grabbed him, and we like sobbed on each other's shoulder for, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes. And after a while, then I began to sense things from the Lord to share with him, and I did so. And yeah, very interesting experience. It's tempting to want to sum it up and try and make sense of it. And I think there is maybe a sense where it's like tapping into God's emotions for my friend and expressing those in a way that he can see them. So God's presence becomes more real to him, like manifest through me. I think often also there's a sense where I'm tapping into their emotions and providing an emotional release for them that maybe they haven't got into yet. Maybe it's both of those things. I don't know, but it's happened a lot recently as a result of, after the fact that I've been getting much more in contact with my own emotions and with God's presence minute by minute throughout the day, that when I enter into a prayer ministry time with someone, first thing I'd find is just crying, just cry. And oftentimes that seems to unlock their process. So I think there's so much more that we haven't discovered, yeah? Scientists have been saying for years that we only use a portion of our brain, and Jesus came to give us life and life more abundantly. I just think that there are, and he says, greater works than these you will do. I think that there are just so many depths to life abundantly and life with God that we have not come close to exploring fully. So that's exciting. Hand on your heart. Take a deep breath. Quiet down your mind. Feel your body. Feel the air rushing into your lungs and filling up your cavity, your chest cavity. This is you. And you're enough. This person that you are, you're enough. You don't have to become anyone. Speak after me with your own name. Jonathan, thank you for feeling. Thank you for being. Thank you for listening. You are enough. You are loved. I love you. God loves you. Your friends and your family love you. You are incredibly loved. You make an impact. Your faithfulness touches people's lives. You're special. Thank you. Self-talk's really important, and I'm trying to teach my children to start now with their self-talk, that we can speak the truth of God over ourselves and become really responsible for it. So we don't fixate on our spouse or on other people or on leaders, pastors, that we don't make them responsible for our spiritual journey. That we don't even make, in a sense, God responsible for our spiritual journey, though He is, but that we can own it and partner with Him, because He dignifies us in our spiritual journey. So, lots of thoughts there. May you guys have grace and peace today. Go to jonathanpuddle.com/podcast. I just put up a new episode yesterday with my friend Curtis Hines, totally reframing evangelism, and it's really, really life-giving. I admitted on air that I don't do much evangelism in a traditional sense, and I feel embarrassed and ashamed. And he said some really cool things in response to that. So if you've ever wrestled with your role in evangelism, go and check out that podcast, jonathanpuddle.com/podcast. All right, my friends. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day.